Pokemon, my favorite video game franchise. With 649 Pokemon, this franchise is a masterpiece. So now I'm bringing you my top 15 favorite Pokemon. The rules are as follows. 3 Pokemon per generation. No Arceus, because even though it has the best status out of any Pokemon, I think it's awesome, and it was definitely be near the top. But let's make a list of all the other great Pokemon. Bellossom is one of those Pokemon that are just downright amazing. Up until Generation 4, it had the best status out of any monograss non-starter Pokemon. It also looks beautiful, and all you have to do to get one is evolve a Gloom by the use of a Sunstone. Yep, something as disturbing as Gloom actually evolves into this thing. So if you're playing Ruby or Sapphire, when that girl in Pacific vlog asks you to trade your Bellossom for her Corsola, don't accept the offer. Why trade Bellossom for a useless piece of coral? If you want Corsola, just fish in Pacific Log City. Bellossom is also a flower Pokemon. And, unlike Cherim, Bellossom does not have to use Sunny Day to appear as a flower. Plus, it has better status. Skorupi may be a useless Pokemon at first. I mean, it's another Bug Poison type, which Bug Poison Pokemon have been done to death already. But it won't be a Bug Poison type forever. When it evolves, it becomes Drapion, which loses the overused type combination and becomes a Dark Poison type, which has only been used 2 other times, and it even looks awesome, and it has enough power to scrap a car. It can even take down opponents without using toxins, so if it was a Bug Dark type instead of a Poison Dark type, it would have been higher. I mean, how long have we been waiting for a Bug Dark type? Ever since Generation 2. Still, Drapion is an awesome Pokemon. Lillipup. Oh, isn't that thing so cute? I mean, it's a puppy Pokemon. How can you deny it? Besides, it has better stats than Patrat, and unlike Patrat, it evolves not once, but twice. It evolves into Herdlear, and then into Stoutland, which ironically enough, even though it's the 3rd evolution, it's still cute, but it still has better status. It also does a great job at saving people. Who wouldn't want that? Lillipup's evolutions are just awesome. Hipoutta. This Pokemon has a unique appearance. I mean, it's a Hippo Pokemon. We haven't gotten any other Hippo Pokemon aside from its pre-evolution, Hippopotas. And when Hipoutta is male or female, it's not hard to identify because the males are brown while the females are black. Zubin may have started out as a not-so-strong Pokemon, even when it evolved into Golbat, but when Generation 2 came along, Golbat evolved into Crobat, which is the strongest Poison-type Pokemon we have so far. Its evolution family has a unique type combination, Poison Flying, and no other Pokemon has this type combination. It's really good at not being seen, even when it's really close to someone, and it can fly all day without stopping. Oh, come on! Don't tell me you didn't see the very mascot of Pokemon coming. The only surprise here is that it's not high on the list. Well, the thing is, it kind of hinders your progress in Pokemon Yellow, and you have to have it with you at all times. Unless you like having it not be happy. But still, what's a Pokemon list without Pikachu, the very mascot of Pokemon? Putting Pikachu in Smash Bros. Was the right thing to do. Sure, it may not have the best status, but if you decide to evolve it into Raichu, its status are wicked. So I suggest you teach it later moves before you evolve it into Raichu. Magikarp may be the most pathetic Pokemon in the world, but won't be that forever. I mean, someday, it'll evolve into a Gyarados. This proves that big things come in small packages. When it evolves into Gyarados, it becomes a Water Flying type, which is a unique type combination. Or at least it was back in Generation 1 before Water Flying types were done to death. Gyarados would definitely be a better Water Dragon type than a Water Flying type. Does this thing look like a flying type to you? No. It still has the greatest status out of any non-legendary water Pokemon, even counting out Suicune. Even though it's not a Dragon type, it can learn some moves like Dragon Pulse and Twister. Simply put, if you have a Magikarp, don't release it. Evolve it into Gyarados. Or at least capture a wild Gyarados. Want me to tell you one thing that Pokemon Red players can get but Pokemon Blue players can't? This thing. Arcanite has better stats than Gyarados, and has the greatest status out of any non-legendary fire type, even counting out Heatran, Moltres, and Entei. Though it is classified as a legendary Pokemon, it's not really a legendary, but it can be considered one because of its awesome appearance and great status. It has amazing speed. Sure, its speed is outmatched by Ninetales' speed, but not by much. It has the best status out of any legendary Pokemon aside from the pseudo-legends and Slacking. At least it did until Archeops came along. But Arcanine still looks more awesome, and it was a part of my childhood. And I still prefer Arcanine. Aggron was originally my best Pokemon until I captured the #1 entry on this list. Sure, it may have horrible special stats and maybe even slower than Slacking, but its insane defense makes up for it. I think that's why they call it the Iron Armor Pokemon. It can also claim an entire mountain as its own territory. It can even restore its territory to normal if it is hit by a landslide. That is one awesome Pokemon. If Aggron is an awesome Pokemon, then Metagross is pure win. This Pokemon is a Steel type like Aggron, but has much better status, yep, including speed and special status. It may be only pseudo-legend that can't learn any dragon moves, but does have a great move pool. It's highly intelligent, thanks to its 4 brains, and it's even smarter than a supercomputer. No wonder this thing is Steven's best Pokemon. This Pokemon is awesome. Okay, maybe I'll say something aside from awesome, like, say, epic. That works. Metagross is epic. It was a tussle between which Pokemon was better, Hydreigon or Metagross. They both are pseudo-legends, both have great move pools, and what was eventually the deciding factor that Hydreigon's type combination is unique, which Metagross' type combination wasn't, even in its generation. Simply put, Hydreigon is downright epic. I tried to put as few legendary Pokemon as possible on this list, but the top 4 are going to be legendary Pokemon. In fact, the only 4 legendary Pokemon on this entire list. The next entry on this list is Lugia. It is, in my opinion, the best Psychic-type Pokemon, even stronger than Mewtwo. Even though it would probably be a better Water Flying than a Psychic Flying, it gives Psychic moves an attack bonus, and it can specialize in Water, Flying, and Psychic. Even though its Water doesn't get much of an attack bonus, it's still super powerful, even has its own signature move, Aeroblast. This Pokemon is so powerful that even the flap of its wings can cause a rainstorm. Zekrom. Oh my gosh. This thing is the best electric type Pokemon by status. It has a unique type combination, Dragonite Electric. It took 16 years, but we finally got one. Doesn't this thing look epic? There's a giant generator that creates electricity, and it can learn Bolt Strike, which does even more damage than Thunder. It gives physical damage, which is a really good thing, because Zekrom's physical attack strength is pure awesomeness. Giratina. This Pokemon has an epic type combination. Seriously, the Dragon Ghost type. Interestingly, it has the same types as the only Pokemon moves that do super effective damage against themselves. And its types are also the types of the only fully evolved Pokemon of their types from Generation 1, Gengar and Dragonite. It has 2 forms. I prefer the normal form because, instead of that overused pressure ability, there's Levitate, which makes it that not only does it take no damage from fighting or normal, but it also takes no damage from ground. Not to mention, it also takes that form when holding the Grisius Orb, tempting you to give it that item, which powers up Ghost and Dragon moves, making them even more deadly, as if the same type attack bonus that it got from those moves wasn't strong enough. It even knows Shadow Force, which has a power of 120, defends itself on the first turn, and can even break through Protect and Detect. The only bad thing about it is your foe can send out a normal type while it's doing this, and its Shadow Force won't do anything because it knew you'd use Shadow Force next, like I just showed you 10 seconds ago. So, what could be the #1 best Pokemon on the list? Well, That's right. The number 1 entry on this list is Kyogre. I know Giratina has better status than Kyogre, but Kyogre is still my favorite Pokemon. Kyogre was my best Pokemon for the most part of my childhood. It looks awesome, it has a unique ability called Drizzle, which powers up water-type moves and thunder. Take that, Groudon! Haha! Kyogre has the power to create huge clouds that cover the whole sky and bring downpours. It also saves people who are suffering from drought. It has the power to control water, and it doesn't have a single stat that is bad. Simply put, Kyogre is my favorite Pokemon ever. Even if I had Arceus on this list, it would only get the number 2 spot, because Arceus, as much as it's awesome, I did not grow up with Arceus. I grew up with Kyogre. Even though Arceus is currently my strongest Pokemon, Kyogre is my favorite Pokemon ever. Well, that's the list. I am Meta572, signing off.